Friends, if you were born before 1961, please do not ignore this message. A letter from Service Canada can look ordinary, like just another envelope on the kitchen table, but sometimes that one letter can affect your old age security, your guaranteed income supplement, your tax situation, or whether you need to take action before a payment is delayed. And I know that for many Canadians, retirement income is not just numbers on a screen. It is groceries in the fridge, heat in the winter, medicine at the pharmacy, a birthday gift for a grandchild, and the peace of knowing that you can pay your bills without lying awake at night. So please stay with me until the end, because one small detail in your Service Canada information could make a real difference. And before we begin, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because we share clear updates for Canadian seniors without confusing language, panic, or rumors. Now let us start with something very important. Being born before 1961 does not automatically mean that every Canadian senior has received a brand new benefit, a special bonus, or a completely different pension rule. But if you were born before 1961, you are already 65 or older in 2026, which means the rules around old age security, the guaranteed income supplement, annual income reviews, payment adjustments, and Service Canada letters can directly affect you. The real issue is not simply your year of birth. The real issue is whether Service Canada has the right information, whether your benefits are active, whether your income has changed, and whether you understand what the letter in your mailbox is actually asking you to do. Many people assume that once they start receiving a pension, everything will continue automatically forever. They believe that no news is good news. They believe that if a payment comes in every month, there is nothing else to check. But retirement benefits are not always completely automatic. Some parts are reviewed. Some payments can change when your income changes. Some benefits depend on your tax return being filed. Some letters are only for information, while others require action. And the difficult part is that government letters do not always sound urgent, even when they contain something you should understand immediately. For Canadians who are approaching retirement age, Service Canada may automatically enroll eligible people for old age security if it has enough information about their eligibility. In many cases, the person receives an enrollment letter around their 64th birthday. But if Service Canada does not have enough information, or if the information is incomplete, the person may need to apply instead. That is why families should never assume that OAS has been arranged simply because someone has turned 65. If you are already over 65 and you have not started receiving OAS, or you are unsure whether you applied, it is worth checking now rather than waiting for another letter. Think about someone who has spent their entire life working, raising children, helping family members, paying taxes, and doing the right thing. They may feel embarrassed to ask questions about their pension because they think they should already know the answers. But there is no shame in checking. There is no shame in calling Service Canada. There is no shame in asking an adult child, a trusted friend, a community worker, or a financial professional to sit with you while you read the letter. The most expensive mistake is not asking for help. The most expensive mistake is putting the envelope aside for months and discovering later that you missed a deadline, an application, a request for information, or a chance to correct an error. The first thing to understand is the difference between CPP and OAS. The Canada Pension Plan is generally based on your contributions during your working years. Old age security is different. OAS is mainly based on your age, legal status, and how long you have lived in Canada after age 18. You do not need to have worked in Canada to qualify for OAS, but you do need to meet the residence requirements. In general, a person living in Canada needs at least 10 years of residence after age 18 to qualify for a partial pension, while a full OAS pension is generally based on 40 years of residence after age 18. This matters especially for people who came to Canada later in life, spent years living abroad, cared for family overseas, or moved between countries during their working years. Some people are surprised when they receive less OAS than a neighbor who has a similar age. But OAS is not the same for everyone. The amount can depend on residence history, income, age, and whether the pension is full or partial. A person may also be able to count time in another country if Canada has a social security agreement with that country. So never compare your pension payment to someone else's and assume that yours is wrong or that theirs is wrong. Your situation is personal and the details matter. Now let us talk about the change many seniors are noticing in 2026. Old age security amounts are reviewed 4 times a year: January, April, July, and October. For the July to September 2026 period, OAS benefits increased by 1.2% because of changes in the Consumer Price Index. That means eligible seniors may see a modest increase in their OAS amount during this period. But remember, a higher payment does not always mean a mistake was corrected or that everyone receives the same amount. It can simply reflect the regular cost of living adjustment. For July to September 2026, the maximum monthly OAS pension for someone aged 65 to 74 is listed at $751.97, while the maximum monthly amount for someone aged 75 and over is $827.17. These are maximum figures, not guaranteed amounts for every senior. Your own payment can be lower depending on your residence history, income, whether you delayed your pension, and other personal circumstances. That is why a letter that shows a payment amount should never be ignored. Read it carefully. Look for the date it starts, the monthly amount, any explanation of changes, and whether Service Canada needs information from you. There is another important rule for people over 75. The OAS pension includes an automatic 10% increase beginning the month after you turn 75 for those who are eligible. That increase is separate from the regular quarterly cost of living adjustments. So if you are nearing age 75, or if a parent, spouse, or relative recently passed that birthday, check that their records are correct and that their payment information is up to date. A wrong date of birth, an old address, or a missed correspondence can create unnecessary stress at a time when seniors should be enjoying stability. But here is where many people get worried. The Guaranteed Income Supplement, commonly known as GIS, is a monthly benefit for lower income seniors who already receive OAS and live in Canada. It can be extremely important for people whose retirement income is limited. Unlike OAS, GIS is based on income and can change depending on your income situation and, in many cases, the income of your spouse or common law partner. That means a letter about GIS is not something to glance at and throw away. It may tell you that your benefit has been renewed, changed, stopped, resumed, or that Service Canada needs more information. Every July, Service Canada reviews GIS eligibility using information from the previous year's tax return. This is one of the most important things for seniors to understand. If you receive GIS, filing your income tax return is not optional just because you do not owe money. You may not owe a single dollar in tax, but your return can still be essential for keeping your GIS payments running smoothly. Service Canada uses that tax information to review eligibility and calculate the correct amount for the new benefit period. If taxes are not filed on time, there can be delays or interruptions. Imagine a senior who says, "I do not earn enough to pay tax, so I did not file." That decision can feel harmless at the time. But later, when July arrives and the GIS amount changes or does not arrive, the person may suddenly face panic. They may be standing in a grocery store looking at the total on the register, wondering why there is less money in the bank. They may think Service Canada has made an error. Sometimes it is an error, but sometimes it is simply that the system did not receive the income information it needed. Filing taxes each year helps protect access to important income-tested benefits. If you receive a July letter about GIS, read it slowly. It may say your benefit has been renewed with a new monthly amount. It may say that more information is needed. It may say your benefit will stop. It may say your benefit will begin or resume. Do not panic if you see a change, but do not delay either. Gather your documents, check your previous year's income, and contact Service Canada if anything appears incorrect. If you are married or in a common law relationship, remember that your spouse's or partner's income can also affect GIS calculations. Another detail many people miss is that changes in marital status can affect benefits. Marriage, separation, divorce, becoming widowed, entering a common law relationship, or living apart for reasons beyond your control can all matter. These are deeply personal life events, and no one wants to think about paperwork while dealing with grief or stress. But Service Canada needs current information to calculate certain benefits properly. In some situations, people who are living apart for reasons beyond their control may be assessed differently for GIS or allowance purposes. That is why updating your information is not just paperwork. It can be part of protecting your income. Your address also matters more than you may think. A move to a new apartment, a retirement residence, a family member's home, or another province can cause problems if your address is not updated. You may miss an important letter, you may miss a request for documents, you may not receive information about a benefit review. In my Service Canada account, people can manage certain details such as address, phone number, email, payment destination, tax deductions, and other personal information. Keeping these details current is one of the simplest ways to prevent avoidable problems. Now, let us talk about delayed OAS. Some people receive an automatic enrollment letter and assume that they must start OAS at age 65. That is not always the case. Eligible people can choose to delay OAS for up to 5 years after age 65, and the monthly OAS payment can increase by 0.6% for every month it is delayed, up to 36% at age 70. But delaying is not automatically the right decision for everyone. It depends on your health, income, work plans, savings, and whether you may qualify for GIS. For someone with limited income, delaying OAS could mean missing income they need now. For someone still working with a higher income, there may be reasons to consider it. This is a personal decision, not a one-size-fits-all strategy. CPP has its own timing rules. The standard age to begin CPP is 65, but it can start as early as 60 or as late as 70. Starting CPP before age 65 reduces the monthly payment, while waiting after 65 increases it. Starting at age 60 can reduce the payment by up to 36%, while delaying until 70 can increase it by up to 42%. Those numbers sound simple, but life is not simple. A person with health concerns, no savings, or immediate bills may need CPP earlier. Another person who is still working, healthy, and financially secure may choose to wait. The important thing is to make the choice knowingly, not because someone online said there is one perfect age for everyone. There is also an OAS recovery tax, sometimes called a clawback, that can affect seniors with higher incomes. For the 2025 tax year, the income threshold is $93,454. If your income is above that level, you may have to repay part of your OAS. This can be a surprise for seniors who sold an investment, withdrew a large amount from an RRSP or RRIF, received a substantial bonus, had rental income, or experienced a one-time increase in income. A letter about a reduction does not necessarily mean you did something wrong. It may be connected to your income from the previous tax year. But it is still worth reviewing carefully, especially if your income has now fallen and you believe the withholding no longer reflects your current situation. For seniors who are still working, this is especially important. Working after 65 can be positive. It can provide income, purpose, social contact, and flexibility. But employment income can affect certain benefits. OAS may be affected by higher net income, while GIS is income tested and can change based on your circumstances. This does not mean you should stop working out of fear. It means you should understand how your work income fits into your overall retirement plan. A few extra shifts can be helpful, but you should know the possible effect on benefits before assuming that every extra dollar earned will have the same impact on your monthly income. And please be careful with scams. When seniors hear that Service Canada rules are changing, scammers see an opportunity. They may send a text message saying you are owed money. They may email you a link to confirm your pension details. They may call and demand your SIN number, bank account details, or a payment to avoid losing benefits. Do not rush. Official guidance warns that Service Canada will not ask you to provide personal information through unsolicited phone calls, texts, or emails. If you are unsure, do not click the link and do not use the phone number in the message. Contact Service Canada using an official number from canada.ca or from your own verified records. This is especially important because fake messages often sound urgent. They may say, your OAS has been suspended. They may say, click here to receive your July increase. They may say, confirm now or your benefits will stop. Fear makes people move quickly and scammers count on that. But you have the right to slow down. You have the right to ask questions. You have the right to hang up the phone. A real government matter can be checked safely through your My Service Canada account, an official Service Canada office, or an official government phone number. So what should you do today if you were born before 1961? First, look for any recent letter from Service Canada, especially anything related to OAS, GIS, payment changes, income reviews, or requests for documents. Second, make sure you filed your 2025 tax return even if you had little or no taxable income. Third, check whether your address, bank details, marital status, and contact information are current. Fourth, look at your recent payment amount and compare it with your letter or account information. Fifth, if something seems wrong, act early. Do not wait until the last week of the month when bills are due and phone lines are busy. For families watching this, please share this information with a parent, grandparent, neighbor, aunt, uncle, or friend who may not use the internet often. Sometimes the person who needs this information most is the person least likely to see it. A gentle conversation can make a huge difference. You do not have to take over their finances. You can simply ask, did you receive a letter from Service Canada? Have you filed your taxes? Would you like me to sit with you while you check your account? Those small questions can prevent a great deal of worry. And remember this, a letter from Service Canada is not always bad news. It may confirm automatic enrollment. It may show an increase. It may renew a benefit. It may simply ask for information needed to keep your file accurate. The key is to read it, understand it, and respond when necessary. Do not let confusing language stop you from protecting the income you worked your whole life to receive. If you were born before 1961, this is the right time to check your OAS GIS CPP tax filing, contact details, and any recent Service Canada mail. Do not rely on rumors. Do not believe every frightening headline. And do not assume that someone else has already handled it. Your retirement income deserves your attention because it supports your independence, your dignity, and your peace of mind. If this video helped you, please subscribe, like the video, and share it with another Canadian senior or family member. Comment below and tell us, have you received a Service Canada letter recently, and did you understand what it meant? Your experience may help another person avoid a missed payment, a delayed application, or a stressful surprise. Take care of yourselves, stay informed, and remember, checking one letter today could save you from a much bigger problem tomorrow.